Hi everyone, you have made it to the pros. This is our training series on tips and tricks for functional solutions and TV for Education customers. If you're currently using TV for Ed and Smart Suite, you will greatly benefit from this series, and it'll hopefully show you some things that you may not have known you are able to do in the system, and it might be a refresher on some of the things that you haven't done in a little while, particularly for our schools that have done a bit of home-based learning during these lockdowns. It's just a good refresher for you. So my name is Mary Jane. I'm part of the TV for Education team. So I'll frequently be looking at our video content, our lessons, and how to get that out to students, as well as monitoring their engagement and reporting on their progress. Today in particular, we are going to be looking at creating a lesson. So for today's example, we're going to be using Shakespeare as the example, but you can of course follow along with any lesson. My advice to you would be have a look through this full training video and then come back with the topic of your choice and follow along the steps, of course searching for your topic. So first of all, up the top here, this is what is called our shortcuts bar. So up here you have the school collection. That is where any videos and lessons and resources that have been added by all your teachers will be in this school's collection. That means you've got a digital database of learning resources right here. TV for Education will allow you to search absolutely everything on TV for Ed. So we upload about 150 new programs weekly, based on the requests of all our teachers across all our schools. So that is covering things on the curriculum, anything that is topical. For example, it was amazing news to find out that little Cleo has been found in WA. So things like that will often be covered in the news coverage and requested by schools that are following along how news presents things in the media. So that will be a topical piece that is uploaded as well. So if you want to have a look through everything on TV for Ed, have a look what's curriculum matched, have a look what has lessons, click that tab there. If you just want to see the items that you've previously saved or viewed, you can click on My Items. Now we want to create a lesson, so in this case we're going to click on the menu button, SmartClassrooms, which is where you build the lessons. In here, if you've previously created lessons, you want to come back to them and edit them or share them, you can click My Lessons. But in this case, we are starting from scratch, so we will click Create Lesson. Now, we are going to just name it Intro to Shakespeare. And you can put any further description in here. So I'm going to say, Upper Secondary Introduction to Shakespeare for English and Literature Studies. Once we click Save, that has created the lesson. So everything that you see within Smart Classrooms will basically auto prompt you to the next step. So here you've got add resource or add a question. Now you can go ahead and just add questions here. You don't actually need to add a video or a website or document. You can go straight here, but I am going to click add resource. So up here you've got a couple of options. You can search TV for Ed as a whole. You can search curated YouTube, so that's going to search items from YouTube that have been vetted by our team and deemed educational, or programs on YouTube that have been used by other Australian teachers in the classroom. And then if you don't find what you want in that YouTube selection, you can search the whole of YouTube. Keeping in mind, this is only available to teachers themselves. Students won't have access to this search, so they can't get on and just have a look at inappropriate things on YouTube. You can also upload files. So you can actually come here, and if you've created a worksheet, if you've got a PDF saved, or you want to put in a graphic, you can just drag and drop it onto this folder and it will upload the file there. You also have URLs. So if you have a website that you want to point your students to, for example, if you want to show them how to do proper referencing and you've found a good website to explain how that works, you can enter it in here. You also have a free text option. So if you want to give them instructions or little helpful hints, you can go ahead and do that here. But for us today, we're going to run a search on TV for education. So let's have a look. The first one here is a modern version of Shakespeare. If you are an English teacher or literature teacher, if you haven't seen Shakespeare Uncovered, it's an amazing series that looks at the history behind Shakespeare's plays, how it was put together, and bit of a study on the play itself. So definitely have a look at those. You'll see each episode is a different topic. So let's go ahead and add one of those. We'll add another one here. Let's add a Romeo and Juliet movie. Let's see. As you can see the rating here. You can see the year that it came out. So for things like Romeo and Juliet, where there are lots of different versions, you can actually go ahead and find the correct one that you want. When people are requesting Romeo and Juliet, this is the version that they are quite often after. So we'll add this one here, but you can go ahead and add as many or as few of these as you'd like. Now, as you can see, it's got the full title here. So we're going to clean this up by clicking on the edit button here. So I can remove anything that I don't want to be up there. So the student's probably not going to need to know the channel that it aired on and that it's HD. Excuse me. And save. Alright, so as you can see, I have cleaned up the title here so that it just shows the series and the episode that it's from, and I've popped a hint in here. So I can say skip to minute 4 if you particularly want to see the main fight between the two families. Now, I have not clipped the video in this case because I may want most of my class to view the film in its entirety, but I'm giving them that hint so that if they do want to go back to a specific point, they can. Now, if I wanted to clip the video, there is a clipping tool here, and I can preview the video to find the point that I want to save.
But why? What is it about him that means I that am curtailed this fair proportion?
So as you can see, it's very quick and easy to skip to the part that you're interested in and find it. Use the open bracket to set the start point and the close bracket to select the end point. Now I can name this anything I want to. I can just put clip 1, I can put exam question, and we just make sure we save it and click create chapter. Now I can go ahead and select a second clip. Just from this same screen, I don't have to reload it again. Change it to question 2. Click save and close. Now when the students go to play that clip, see how that jumped ahead? That will only allow them to play the selected clip. The reason for that being, I may want to skip from an inappropriate part of the film, changing the content from M to PG because I've skipped something that was explicit. Or I may want them to just focus on a particular area instead of watching the full hour program. So you can definitely use the clipping tool. If they click on this chapter button on the side, it's going to show them the different clips that they can go to and what titles you've given it as well. So for my example, I've said exam question 1, implying that they can have a look at the content that they will need for those questions, but yours might just be clip 1, 2, and 3. Now you can add as many clips as you want in that selection, so you don't have to again keep reloading the program or reload the clipping software. As you can see, as soon as we clicked save, it was ready to view. Now you can also add questions. The type of questions you can add are multiple choice, yes and no, or missing word. These two are pretty self-explanatory, so you fill in the options and just change the correct answer to a tick instead of a cross. For missing word, all you have to do is type the sentence in that you need. So you might say Shakespeare was a what writer? For the missing word option, you've got a add missing word button here, and as you type, it will fill in that blank for you. You can also add in a hint down the bottom, keeping in mind that doing the multiple choice yes or no questions and missing word allows you to auto-correct the lessons. So you can, of course, put an open-ended question that allows the student to fill in a paragraph, but if you want the lesson to be auto-corrected by the system, so you can just get a report of which students actually completed the lesson and how well they completed the lesson. These are the types of questions you want to be putting in there. All right, so you do also have the option of putting slides in. So I've put 3 videos in here, and I can then click new slide, add a resource. I can have a look what's available in YouTube. So again, I'm looking at that curated section for educationally recommended programs. Again, if you haven't seen these crash course literature videos, they are an amazing resource available on YouTube. So I can put that on there, put a yes or no question. Depending on how young your students are, this might be very obvious or not obvious at all. We'll click save, and as you can see, that's how the question appears. So what you can do with the slides is actually lock them to a certain spot. So if you were showing this lesson in the classroom and you wanted the students to all focus on the same questions at the same time, you can go ahead and release the first slide, and then when you're ready for them to do the next slide, you can actually go ahead. Let's have a look. And move them on to the next slide. So if you have this up on the projector, you can actually control how fast they're going along in the lesson. Now, you may be wondering, why is there a print option? Now, if you have a student that has forgotten their laptop, or for whatever reason they are not having technology that day, you can of course print a option of the lesson as well. So that way they can follow along on the screen and fill in the questions on their worksheet. Now you can click here as the teacher to view the lesson results, and you can also bring this up at any point in time. So if you've released this lesson and then 3 months later you're sitting with the parent at the parent-teacher interviews, you can actually bring this up to show how engaged that student was with this lesson. Now, in terms of sharing the lessons, that's really important, particularly when we are going back and forth during this lockdown learning phase. But you can set this by year level in terms of security. So in this case, I would say that year 9 would be the lowest year level that I want to be able to access this. And you can select accepting or not accepting answers. Again, if you wanted to control whether the students are viewing the content and then able to answer the questions, you can change whether it's accepting or not accepting. When you are ready, you can share the link via this URL or by the QR code. So you can then put it into your learning management system, you can email it to your students, you can put it up in the classroom, you can share it however you would like. Now I'm just going to have a quick look. It doesn't look like we have any questions today on creating a lesson. So we'll have a quick look here. If we go to My Lessons, this is going to show us all our saved items. So we've got lessons here, we have videos that we've saved to our items. If I click on our lesson here, there you go, it's brought it up again, so it's really nice and easy to view. All right, so if you do have any questions about creating lessons, what I'd recommend, again, as I said at the start of this video, follow along the video. You can watch this at any time with your topic that you're trying to create a lesson for. If you have any questions, you have a chat button here. This goes directly to our TV for Education team and they will help you on the spot. So there's a chat box here. You can just say, I need help with my lessons, and they will talk directly to you. If you require a phone call, they will go ahead and do that for you as well. So you can know that you've got our support waiting to set you up there. All right, so definitely register for any of our other training sessions from the Pro series. I hope you've learned something new today, and we look forward to seeing you next time.